afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Goodness me, I'm getting carried away. Well, it is good afternoon for some of you, isn't it? It is. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me for Breaking Dawn. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to another show, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. I hope everyone's doing fine. I hope everyone is feeling a little bit content this morning in regards to Manchester United. And hopefully we can pick the bones out of the game from yesterday. Of course, on any other day, Aston Villa 0, Manchester United 0 wouldn't have been such a bad result, would it? But considering that we've lost 3 games already this season, it isn't, because we needed a win. We're falling further behind and we're 14th in the league table, which is a big issue now. We're falling further and further behind. We're 5 points from the bottom 4. We're 6 points from the top 4, right? So at the end of the day, look, glass full, glass half empty. Whatever you feel about it, it's not good enough, is it? It's not good enough, and we have to call it as it is, guys. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe and smash a like on the video. If you guys are new, please don't forget, you can also become a member if you like. Support the channel. Drop a super chat. Support the channel. That'd be absolutely fantastic. If you guys can do that for me, be absolutely brilliant. But let's get the subscribers up. Let's keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much, guys. So at the end of the day, Aston Villa 0, Manchester United 0 is not a bad result. And I don't think we played particularly bad yesterday. The one thing I would worry about, and I have said it, and I said it in the summer, and I was shut down a few times, we need a proper, experienced striker in there. But at the same time, when we talk about a striker, how are these strikers going to score goals when our wingers are not creating for those strikers? This is the one thing that bugs me, because at the end of the day, you know what? We don't create enough chances for our strikers from the wings. We don't cross the ball into the box. We really don't. And how are the likes of Højlund and Xerxes going to get on the end of things if nothing is there to get on the end of, if you know what I mean? And this is a big issue that we're having at the moment in regards to Manchester United and scoring goals. And also it's about being clinical as well. We had a couple of episodes yesterday where we could have won the game if the pass was on point, and it was an easy pass as well. We need to be a lot more efficient in what we do and careful in the right way we pass the ball out from the back, or when we cross the ball, for example. When we cross the ball, we keep hitting the first man. Why? I mean, do they not train how to cross footballs anymore? Because we're hitting the first man time and time again. There was a chance when we had a chance to get the ball. I think it was Bruno who was free, and Garnacho hit the first man. I thought, or was it Anthony who hit the first man? It's simply not good enough, my friend. It's simply not good enough at the end of the day, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. Let's get into the comments here. We are in the end game now. Could be Rasta. Could be good morning to you, mate. Good morning. I want to be honest opinion on yesterday's game and upcoming game in Europe against Jose. I think we got a real lucky yesterday. I think we did all right yesterday. I don't know about Aston Villa. To be honest, I was surprised Aston Villa, but we have got a good record at Villa Park over the years. We beat them last season as well. Let's not forget. We do have a good record against them. Please, supposed to be meeting in London on Tuesday. Put everyone from the executive board. It's looking good, bruv. Rasta, one thing I would say, right, is that meeting's been planned for a couple of months. I would say that. And that's from my contacts. That meeting has been planned for a long time. So it could be, I'm not saying it could be the time that he goes, but it could also be the time that, you know what, he stays, you know. But the meeting has been there for a while. That meeting has been planned for a long, long time. So, you know what? I know people read the media and stuff like that and think they're in the know and stuff like that. I know that, but they don't know that meeting's been planned for months. And at the end of the day, we hope that there's developments, and we hope that there will be a change at the football club. I personally think that it's getting very precarious in regards to the manager. We're drawing too many games. I think, though, one thing I would say is that patience don't exist these days. I can see improvements in the defending, the structure of the defense. And obviously, football starts from the defense. And when you can start defending well, you can start scoring goals. Eventually, that will come. Unfortunately, I don't think the fan base and the board are going to have the patience in that, because we shouldn't be 14th place in the table. You know, we're Manchester United. At the end of the day, we're going into the international break in October. and we're 14th place in the table. I don't think that should be occurring. But in regards to this meeting that's happening on Tuesday, that has been planned for a long time, guys. That has been planned. That is like a review of the season so far. And whatever happens, I don't know what's going to happen in that meeting. But you know what? It could be anything if we're being honest, guys. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning, Sanjay. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you, David. Good morning, afternoon, even in the United fans. Good morning, David. How you doing, my friend? Good morning, 7:04 UK time. Kazi, you're committed to it, mate. You're committed to it. Big love to you, brother. Thank you so much. I wouldn't be surprised if Ten Hag stays, Kenny. I wouldn't be surprised either. I don't think that meeting necessarily means that he's going to be sacked. If he lost badly yesterday, he probably would have been sacked. I think this has bought him more time. I really do. I'm not saying that 100% as a guy who thinks I know everything. I don't. But the thing is that meeting has been planned for a very, very long time. That meeting has been planned for a long time from sources inside the club who I know. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's sacking or the end game, basically. It just basically is a review of the season so far. So we'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed, whatever happens, do you know what I mean? We'll have to wait and see, guys. Afternoon from Sydney Sal. What is the thinking behind Harry and Evans being put in the starting lineup, trying to himself sacked? I think he lost his mind. The fan base has completely turned. I think the main issue is I don't think Maguire or Evans played particularly bad yesterday. Fair play to them. They played well. But one thing it does, right? It doesn't show promise for the future. We're not doing something for the future. We're doing something for now. Self-preservation in regards to that, because he trusts those players to perform. I felt the whole defense did well, though, if I'm being totally honest with you. I felt like even De Ligt did well. When he came on, he did very well. You know, Maguire did well. Evans did well. They showed up, the other players in the pitch. I mean, how can a near 40-year-old show up those young players on the pitch? How can a near 40-year-old be our best player on the pitch? How does that happen? How does that happen? Do you know what I mean? It's embarrassing for those players. It's embarrassing that a near 40-year-old can be our best player on the pitch. It's embarrassing. To be honest, if I was a Man United fan, I'd be embarrassed. If a player. We're already in international break. Yeah, now we are, Kazi. We absolutely are. And we have another injured player, Maguire. Another one bites the dust, Rasta. Another one bites the dust. Of course, injuries. Every single. It's like we can't catch a break these days in regards to injuries, for goodness sake. And Mazraoui. Let's not forget Rasta. And Mazraoui as well. He's injured. Hello, good morning. Enough Ten Hag, because for him not conceding goals is a good result. Zizou, do you know what? One thing I would say about the result yesterday, if we had beaten Brighton, if we had beaten Crystal Palace, if we had at least got a draw against Spurs, it wouldn't be a bad result. But the fact is, when you lose those type of games, when you draw those type of games as well, you leave yourself open and for a criticism, and you leave yourself with little room to breathe. Ten Hag doesn't have any room to breathe anymore. And this is obvious because we are 14th in the league now. This is modern day football. This is not Sir Alex Ferguson times. As much as we stayed patient with Sir Alex Ferguson, this is not the time now. I will back the manager until he's gone, of course. And I have always said that. I'm not going to be that Ten Hag out proud. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't do that sort of thing. But the thing I would say is that drastic improvement needs to be made. And we need to find a way to get us back to where we belong. This team, right, is worth millions, if not a billion altogether, the whole squad. And we're struggling, right? At the end of the day, when you spend that much money on defenders and you spend that much money on a midfielder who we were chasing all summer, we were here all summer talking about Ugarte. When you talk about and you leave those players on the bench, what does that tell you? Do you know what I mean? And then you play the same old players. You know, maybe he's scared now. He just doesn't want to lose another game. And to be fair, the team did okay yesterday. On attacking front, it was poor. But on a defensive structure, it was good. But then again, you can say that were Aston Villa tired. Aston Villa looked a little bit tired for me. But we have to give credit where it's due. We cannot speak in hypothetical scenarios and say that, you know, Aston Villa were crap and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? Because we did get a good result. But the problem is that we can't afford to drop points. We've drawn against Aston Villa during the Alex Ferguson days. Do you know what I mean? So we know Aston Villa have always been a tough team at Villa Park. Of course, the great class of '92, first game for them was 3-1 at Villa Park, as we know. But the thing is, this is not then. And the thing is, we have lost too many games to be drawing games now. We need to think about winning games now, because we are very, very close to being in a relegation battle. We've got Brentford coming up. Do you know what I mean? And if Brentford do one on us, it is going to be an absolute worry for us, guys. An absolute worry. And the thing is, we have to change this pretty soon and pretty quickly. The team is better than what they're showing. The team is better. The squad is good. The squad is good. I would say, and as I stress, we did need a left back. I said it, we need a left back. I did say we needed an experienced striker in there for 20, 30 goal a season, striker to cause havoc. We cannot keep relying on young players to do the business. But again, I keep stressing, again, and I contradict my own point sometimes, because we will get an experienced striker in, but then those wingers are not creating for those strikers. Bruno's not doing nothing. Now, I understand Bruno hasn't been playing well. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't, and he's been rubbish for ages. Why is he not being substituted? Why is he not being taken off the pitch? That's what I really want to know. What's going on? This is blatant favoritism. And I don't like favoritism. I think favoritism is ugly. I think everyone should have a fair chance on playing football for Manchester United if you're in that Manchester United squad. We could have changed it up. We could have took off Bruno. We could have done something. We could have brought in Mason Mount's injured as well, obviously, of course. We could have brought in another. We could have brought in Collier. We could have brought in, you know what I mean, Xerxes, play Xerxes behind Rasmus. Why didn't we do that? Why don't we try something that is more inclined for the future? We need to find something that's more focused on what we're going to do in the future. Yes, Evans was fantastic. Yes, Maguire was fantastic. We had a fantastic centre-back partnership. But what does that think? What does that do for our future? We're supposed to be building something for the future. Ineos are supposed to be looking at something that is for the future. Now, they'll be looking at that and thinking, we just spent 200 million this summer, and those players are on the bench. Why are those players on the bench? That's what they're going to be doing. And you know what? It's going to be detrimental to Eric Ten Hag, of course. Irfan, 0-0. Very good 0-0, Irfan. That game versus Villa showed me the players can't execute the tactics. He had to play defensive because they can't play expansive, free-flowing football. Good point. Good point. It's true. Some of those players can't. All parties need to come together and try to put United first. Owners, board members, coaches, coaching staff, and players need to start now before we end up in a relegation battle. Facts. Go Man United. Go Man United, my friend. Big up yourself. Good morning, Chow. How you doing, my friends? Good morning, Sal. Do you think the acceptance sitting in 14th place and it's the worst start since 1931 and 1989, my friend? And Eric Ten Hag broke his own record, 23, 24, 7 games this season down to 8 points. It's not good enough, Chow. It's not good enough, but there are multi-layers to that. And Man United have been aiming for this for a long time now. We've been flirting with this kind of thing for a very long time. And I firmly believe now that change needs to happen, not only with the manager, but also with a lot of those players, because ultimately they are the players that are on the pitch and they're the players that are not executing things perfectly. Now, Garnacho, was it Anthony or Garnacho? They had a chance in the second half where he just needed to pass it to, I think it was Bruno, and he was completely open. Simple schoolboy errors, hitting the first man. Ten Hag doesn't teach that, right? And we could have won that game 1-0. At the end of the day, a football game is a game of fine margins, right? And Bruno hit the crossbar. Let's not forget Aston Villa beat Bayern Munich in the week, right? So at the end of the day, we had a decent performance. And before that game, I was one saying it. I think we're going to concede 4 goals. I was the one saying it. And we didn't, did we? At the end of the day, we did okay. But one thing that is worrying me, and I said it before the even season started, is where our goals are going to come from. Because we can have the greatest striker in the world up front. We don't create enough chances from the wing. And when you don't create enough chances from the wing, and even number 10, how are those strikers going to get goals? How are they going to get goals? We may create strikers for the midfield. We may create strikers on the corners and stuff like that, chances on the corners and stuff like that. But when it comes to creating chances for our forwards, we're not doing that. And that is a big worry for me, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. Evans was man of the match, Kazi. Absolutely. Xerxes moving like a bent beach summer. Yeah, you got to give him a chance, though. You've got to give him a chance. At the end of the day, look, you know, we can't jump on the players too soon. No one can come and Man United back to the top. United have a lot of top players, all flop. Have to go first. Bruno, Casemiro, Mount, Rashford. These players do need to go. Fan, I do agree, but will they go? Will they have a chance to go? Will the manager get a chance to get his own players in? And this is the problem that we're going to have, of course. Morning, sound chat. Good morning, Brian. How you doing, mate? Hope you're doing well. Maguire is too slow to defend players like Watkins and Watches. He did well yesterday, though, Zuzu. He did mark him at the game pretty well, of course, but he's not good enough going forward in the long term. Maz felt ill. That's why he was taken off at half-time, I presume. He done fantastically well, Maz, yesterday. But, yeah, it was something to do with his fitness or health that he got taken off. Of course, Mazraoui has had a heart problem in his career. As we know, if people know, he has a heart problem. So, obviously, we have to be very careful with Mazraoui as well, guys. Almac, Eric Ten Hag would be fired if Ineos hadn't extended his contract. They are reluctant to pay him 70 million to leave. Absolutely. Even when he eventually are fired, they will give Rue the job because he costs nothing. Yeah, they will. Because at the end of the day, this is what annoys me, because we're meant to be looking at best in class, right? And there was this murmurs, and then there was this this buzzword called best in class, buzz sentence called best in class. How are we going to move forward if we're not picking the best in class? And Tuchel is not the best in class. He's not the best in class. We have to get who is the best in class right now. Who's the best up-and-coming manager right now? Who's a young manager, best up-and-coming manager right now? And you have to say Amorim is the best up-and-coming manager right now. But then so was Ten Hag. He was the best up-and-coming manager when we got him, wasn't it? But the thing is, it's not worked. So we have to think about who is the next in line? Who's the best in class? And Ruud van Nistelrooy might well be the best in class, but we don't know that because he's not an experienced manager who's won endless titles at the elite leagues. He's won things with PSV in the Dutch league, of course. So was Erik ten Hag at the end of the day. One thing I would say is that obviously Ruud van Nistelrooy may be more inclined to play a formation that might work better with the football club. We may get a new manager bounce, of course, which might happen. It always happens, doesn't it? But at the end of the day, he's not the best in class if we want to move forward. Brian, Hoyland and Xerxes are not getting us top four. No, how can we if they're not creating enough chances from the wings, mate? We're not creating enough chances for our strikers. We don't have any players who can cross the ball. If you look at the scenario when we were free, when we had, I think it was Garnacho on the right, and then Garnacho just needed to pass the ball to Bruno in the middle, and he would have been open and free to slot the ball into the back of the net, and he hit the first man. If we cannot even cross a ball, how can we judge a striker? How can even Tony come into Man United, right, and score goals? In that system, he can't, because he won't get the ball. And like, for example, even Tony, we've been talking a lot about even Tony over the summer. How can he make goals himself? Can he take the ball from the midfield and take it up and strike from 30 yards into the top corner? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we need to work around our strikers. Our strikers have not been good enough. Our forwards in general, and that is every one of them have not been good enough. It is a collective. And you know what? We need to work out a way where we can open teams up and score more goals, because we're not scoring goals, guys. We're not scoring goals. Ayrton broke his own record. Worst start. Yep, he did. It's not good enough, as we know. Brian, Villa have played Wednesday and at home. We played Thursday, and so Villa were tired low. I know. We played further away from them. Yeah, but we only played bloody, what's their name? Porto. They played Bayern Munich, didn't they? At the end of the day, I'm going to say this, Brian. Yesterday, in all other scenarios, was a decent result, right? And let's not be delusional and idiotic, right? At the end of the day, yesterday was a decent result if we had beaten Crystal Palace and we had beaten Brighton and we had drew against Spurs at least, and we didn't get smashed up against Liverpool. It would have been a decent result. But because we've dropped so many points already, the result becomes a bit disappointing because we need 3 points. And I felt that Aston Villa were there for the taking. Were Aston Villa tired yesterday? I'm not going to say that. I think that we were tired as well. We played against FC Porto, a very difficult game against FC Porto in Portugal. So at the end of the day, you have to give credit where it's due. And it is a balance at the end of the day. You can't just jump in on the team and say, do you know what? Rubbish and this and that, and we're starting this and that and this and that, mate. At the end of the day, you know what? We drew the game. You know what? We've won none in the last 5. We've drawn 4. You know, and that is becoming a little bit of a worry, isn't it, guys? And those draws could have been turned into wins if we were prolific and we were creating chances to score goals. We were actually scoring goals. Good morning, Desmond. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to have you back, my mate. Good morning. I think Ten Hag's decision-making problem because I don't understand why he picks players with low confidence over players with high confidence. At the end of the day, his team selections are very, very odd sometimes. I mean, yesterday, I was jumping on him, but to be honest with you, the team did well, didn't it? But one thing I would say about in regards to the team is that it isn't promising for the future. If we're carry on playing the same players over and over again, we need to think of the future and build a team for the future, just like Pep did, just like Arteta did. We need to build a team that's going to challenge in the future. We're not going to challenge with Evans and Maguire and these type of players at the end of the day, and Bruno. You know what I mean? We're not going to, and Rashford, we're not going to do it. Unfortunately, we tried and we're not going to do it, obviously, of course. Villa looked horrible. I was fuming at Garnacho. He didn't even beat it first. Absolutely, Kenny. Do you know what? These are the fine margins in football that I've been talking about. The fine margins in football. When you cannot do the basics right, if you cannot get past the first man, how on earth can you blame Erik ten Hag for that? Because we would have won 1-0. We would have won 2-0. But when we hit the crossbar, it would have won if he just got an inch. You know, that is football. Then football decided on fine margins. And if you can't beat the first man at the end of the day, that is not Ten Hag's fault, is it? That is basic schoolboy error. That's a schoolboy error. And my opinion is if Garnacho wants to be a starter in his football club and he wants to be a good player at this football club, he needs to train and work on his craft every single training session harder. Stay behind on training and practice and practice and practice, just like Bex did. Because that was Bex, we win that game. You know what I mean? We need left-back experienced midfielders and world-class strikers. We acting like we are a team for the championship. We are united. We must start acting like it, even if a draw is not good enough. At the moment, a draw is not good enough, mate. At the moment, it's not, and we do need to have players there who can score. We don't win if we don't score, of course. Hope you're okay, Holland. Xerxes is getting service, to be honest. Absolutely, Kazi. That's the thing. Kazi, do you think that we're going to score goals with even Tony up front? If we got no service, it's not going to happen. Villa was there for the taking its day, and we could not. We weren't prolific, Desmond. We could have if we just passed the ball like a competent footballer. If we passed the ball competently, we would have won that game yesterday. Most teams would have won that game yesterday. You know, against City, Arsenal probably won. But we have to give credit to Man United for the defensive display. I've never been pissed off at Man United in years, mate. You know what? I've been supporting this club long enough. You know, I've seen some bad things, but it's getting a bit frustrating now, Desmond, isn't it? Absolutely. Desmond, our wingers are set. Stingy patterns are over 2 years. Yeah, Desmond, that's what you get when you have inadverted wingers. When you have inadverted wingers, that's what you get. You get players who are selfish. You get players who shoot, because when you cut in, you're more inclined to shoot than try and bend a ball into the box, because it's harder, isn't it? If you have wingers who are playing on their correct side, their left foot on the left side, right foot on the right side, they're more inclined to cross. And also, when you play that formation with the right foot on the right side, you have more opportunity to have the overlapping runs from the wing backs, of course. But we ain't got that. And the problem is we're doing this bloody inadverted thing that is not working. It's so narrow. It doesn't work. And we need to try and change it. If wings don't cross in the box, how managers don't sub them off and give them a warning? Because we don't have any who do it, mate. We don't have any who was crossing. And this is the one big thing that I've been saying about Man United for years now. For years, I said we need to find wingers who can cross the ball. We need to find wingers who cross the ball in a sixpence and get that ball into the box. We don't have that. And what formation contributes to crossing balls into the box? 4-4-2. 4-5-1. We need wingers who can cross. We need to go back to basics. Ignore all these ticky-tacky, overcomplicated things. We need to go back to basics. That's what we need to do, in my opinion, guys. Do you think United showed intent to win, or do you think every time I set a team not to lose? It was a balance, Almac. I felt like he was looking for a snatch and grab, basically, which we've done in the past. We've done that under Sir Alex Ferguson. But at the end of the day, it looked like we weren't really bothered at the end, which disappointed me. We didn't really go full throttle for the win. I felt that Aston Villa were there for the taking, Mac, and I felt Man United teams of the past would have got that ball into the box a lot quicker, and we would have probably created more chances to score. Yesterday, it looked like, you know what, we're content with that. We'll take the draw, which is unacceptable, obviously, as we know, Mac, as we know. Trigger Kim. Do we really think that we are going to win every play against Brentford? Leicester, I doubt it. They are just delaying the inevitable. 1 win in 10 European. Fire him this week. We'll have to wait and see, Trigger King, what's going to happen this week. Unfortunately, nothing is coming out of the board at the moment. What's going to happen? We haven't got any idea what's going to happen. One thing I would say is that that meeting has been organised for months. So, subject to popular belief, it wasn't organised this week, like some people are saying. It was organised ages ago. You know what I mean? And people are saying, oh, you know, this is the time he's going to be sacked. No. It's going to be a meeting. There was always going to be this review on Tuesday. I'm not saying he's not going to be sacked, but I'm also saying he could stay as well. He could stay as well. It's a massive meeting on Tuesday, and this could be the time where they could sack him. If they're going to sack him, now's the time to do it, of course. If they were going to sack him anyway, they should have done it last week, in my opinion. But don't bet your house on it that they're going to sack him. He could stay, but he could also be sacked as well on Tuesday. But that meeting has been organised for a long time. So that meeting is not just exclusive for Erik ten Hag. It was always going to be a meeting for a review around this time. And they organised it a long time ago, guys. United still don't have a system style where players know where they have to do. They are confused. Our players are not being coached properly. We have Ruud van Nistelrooy. We have Rennie Hackey in there. We've had a number of great coaches in there. We have Steve McLaren in there. I mean, they're being coached, mate. They're being coached. It's just that some of these players are just not giving their all, and some of them are just not urgent enough. And that comes from the manager, right? In regards to tactics, we can talk all day about tactics until we're blue in the face. If we're not being, if we're not showing the effort, and the manager is not having an intent to win the game, then there is a problem. My one issue with Erik ten Hag is that when the referee lost his, do you remember when he lost his radio? Ten Hag was just standing there on the touchline with his hands in his pocket. If it was me, I would be telling my players, "Come on, guys, we can get this goal. If we can nick a goal, we get some chances. We can get a 1-0. Come on, guys, let's do this. We can get a goal. Just get a goal. Catch him unawares." That's what I'll be doing. He was just standing there with his hands in his pockets, and that is the big issue with him. He's unanimated. It's almost like he's resigned to defeat, and I don't like this. I think you should, as a manager, you should be on that touchline screaming. Sir Alex Ferguson, in his old age, was screaming on the touchline, and that's what we need to do. We're not. He's far too unanimated for my liking, in my opinion. Chow, I'm in Ineos watch right now. The next manager must appoint careful if they're not failed. Absolutely, Chow. It is a big opportunity for Ineos to do something right. And they have to pick the right manager. And this manager must be up and coming. He must be young. He can't be old, right? And finished. He must be the next best thing. He must be the next big thing out. We have to go for the best in class. Unless it's Ancelotti, unless it is Zinedine Zidane, you know what? It's not going to be the best in class. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we can do the best in class in regards to the next up-and-coming manager. And for me, the next up-and-coming manager is Amorim. I also like Emery as well. I think he's a good manager as well. But he's going to be expensive to get rid of. And so is Amorim. And this is the big problem that we're going to have. We're going to have to pay Erik ten Hag 17 million, and then we're going to have to pay a new manager. If we're going to get the best in class, we're going to have to get Amorim or someone like that. And we're going to have to pay them off as well. We're going to have to pay Sporting Lisbon off as well. You know what I mean? It's not going to be easy, is it? It's going to be hard. Man United, why Man United is good morning. How are you? Also, your family and friends, loved ones, distant family, in-laws, community, and the world. Big up, Richard. How you doing, mate? Long as it's not a delusional comment. Thank you very much. Paul Scholes has been critical of Xerxes. He said that his finishing is terrible. He said, but Xerxes never said that he was a goal scorer before he came to Man United. He said, don't expect me to score lots of goals. Xerxes is a creative player, a Firmino-type player, so to speak. But what we have to do, we have to hold these players in high standards. As Man United, at the end of the day, why did we sign Xerxes then? Why did we sign Xerxes if he's not a goal scorer when we needed a goal scorer? If Xerxes is coming out and saying that I'm not a goal scorer, why did we sign him? At the end of the day, we should have signed an even Tony or something like that, a proper goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? Now, if Xerxes was coming to play on the number 10, why doesn't he play the number 10? Why doesn't he play number 10 with Rasmus up front as number 9? Why don't we do that? I mean, it's God sent to do that. Bruno needs to be dropped. Why don't we try that? I mean, Erik ten Hag has had so many opportunities to try different formations, different styles to try and create chances, but he's not doing that. Do you know what I mean? The last time Bruno didn't play, we scored 7 goals. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. Just Sal, there's no dedication needed. Absolutely, just say it here, Sal. No dedication needed. Thank you, Kazi, my legend. Thank you, mate. Xerxes is beginning to concern me. He looks like he's unfit and heavy, looking tired after 20 minutes as a sub, maybe conditioned under 21 football for a while. Not sure, but patience needed. Janino, he does look unfit, and that's a constructive argument. I do think he does look a little bit weighty, in my opinion. No offense, but he does look a bit weighty. He does look like he needs to get on the cardio. He needs to work. He needs to work hard. For me, he looks a bit casual, if I'm being totally honest. When he's on the pitch, he looks a bit casual. I think it needs to be better. He needs to work harder. But obviously, it is still early days, so we have to give him the benefit of the doubt, guys, of course, guys. What is Mason Mount doing just for 250,000 weight? He's never fit, and when fit, doesn't do much beyond running around. Absolutely, Almac. And do you know what? All we people talk about is all he presses. He presses. When you put that number 7 shirt, that great number 7 shirt, the number 7 shirt of George Best, the number 7 shirt of Eric Cantona, the number 7 shirt of David Beckham, the number 7 shirt of Cristiano Ronaldo, you have to do more than just run around, for crying out loud. You have to create chances, score goals, be a talisman in that team. He's not. He's a softie. He's a softie, and he doesn't play football enough. You know what I mean? It was the wrong choice to sign him. I said it before. It was the wrong choice to sign him. I knew we shouldn't have signed Mason Mount way back then. Before we even signed him, I knew we shouldn't have signed him. I always knew he was overrated. I mean, I said it years ago before he even signed for bloody Chelsea. For goodness me, I said it years ago that he's overrated. Man United and Rooney, Rowan, Giggs, goals, Becker, CR7, Nicky Bart, Vidic. We need all of them, mate. But we're dreaming at the end of the day. They're retired now, mate. Absolutely, Richard, we do. Why is Antonio getting sacked? No one said he's getting sacked yet. Ineos has a big decision to make now. The season can be great if we make the changes now. Desmond, the one worry thing I have is that we're going to wait. And the problem is that, you know what, the toxicity is going to grow in the fan base. People are going to get a lot more frustrated again. And you know what, we can't be having this now. The biggest thing I said, and I played on at the beginning of the season, is that I don't want any more toxicity. I want us to be united as a fan base. I want us to be winning football matches and be positive about the season coming. It's only in October, and look at us. We're an absolute mess. Now, we have a chance to save this season, but we have to employ the best in class. Ruud van Nistelrooy will be a knee-jerk reaction interim boss, which will have a bounce. Maybe we'll have a new manager bounce, but is it a long-term problem? Is it a short-term solution for a long-term problem? Do we need that again? Do we need another Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the end of the day? And this is where we have to be very, very careful, guys. We don't want to employ someone. He gets a new manager bounce. The board get impressed. They give him a new contract, 3 years, and then the players end up down tooling, and he ends up failing at Man United. We need to get someone who's going to be there for years, successful, and playing a style of football that we can all warm to, so we can stop this buzzword of style of football and stuff like that, and start united as a fan base and start winning football games, of course. So, a new manager, Man United, one day, mate. One day, you never know. Watch this space. Amorim, absolutely. I'm a fan of Amorim, but he's going to cost money, of course, to get him away from Sporting Lisbon. And if we're going to spend money getting Eric Ten Hag out of Man United, it's going to be Amorim, and we're going to spend 40-odd million, ain't we? It's going to be expensive. So I'm seeing guys blaming the players for not executing tactics. How do you explain tactics when you set up to defend and Garnacho too can't hold the ball better than Ahmed? Trigger Kim, Garnacho needs to improve on his overall game. I personally believe that if Ahmad was on the pitch yesterday, we would have won the game, because that ball he crossed, which hit the first man, would have went to Bruno and it would have scored the goal. Tactics are overrated, in my opinion. I believe that. I've always believed that. But at the same time, you have to have a formation that works for the players that you have at hand. Yesterday, we played well, and we cannot argue, regardless of the players he played on the pitch. We played well. We should have won the game, to be honest with you. And if we were prolific up front, we would have won the game. Defensively, we're good. We did not get dominated. It was not a backs-to-the-wall performance. We played, obviously, better in some parts than Aston Villa in some parts of the game, and we had best chances. We had the best chances in the game. So, to be honest with you, we should have won the game. But at the same time, we need to find a formation that where we're getting goals, and we're not scoring enough goals. Garnacho is not a right winger. He's not, and I think he's more like a striker. I think he is, and I feel like this thing where he just runs at players is not working. He's a good player, but at the moment, I don't think he's ready. He's not at that level where he can create chances and he can make a difference in the game. None of our forward line are, not even Ahmad is. They're not ready yet, and we don't have experience there that can make the difference at the moment. Ahmad hasn't played well for 3 games. He hasn't. Played poor against Porto, played poor against, obviously, Tottenham as well. But at the end of the day, he's better than at the right wing. He's our best right winger. He is our best right winger, and we need to play him a little bit more. And we probably would have won the game yesterday if we did. Who knows? If we need to start getting results ASAP, if over, we do. Absolutely, my friend. We need to start getting results quickly because you know what? As I said earlier in the show, that if we won the other games against Crystal Palace, against Brighton, against Tottenham, it wouldn't matter that much that we drew against a good Aston Villa side, would it? But because we've dropped points in those games, it becomes a bit precarious because we're getting lower and lower in the league. We're 14th place now. It's unacceptable in October. I absolutely understand that. I will play Rasmus at the top and left back, and Amas as a right. We will be Dalot in the middle, Casemiro, Eriksson, Garnacho, and Licha Martinez de Ligt. I'll play Rasmus at top. Right. I'll play Rasmus at top and left back. I'll play Amas as well, mate. I think he's ready. Yesterday, who was playing the left back at 17 years old? Yesterday, was it Tottenham? They're playing a 17-year-old at left back. You know what I mean? We need to believe in ourselves, in our youth system and stuff. You know what I mean? Because they are good enough and they are ready, in my opinion. It is arrogant to think we can get top manager when we already have a job. Maybe they don't want to have a secure job, join the mess at Man United. You know what? One thing I would say is a balanced thing. You know what? A manager like Amorim might want to come to Man United. And at the same time, the manager might want to be that guy to turn Man United's fortunes around. He might want to be that guy, want to be remembered as that guy who changed Man United, who brought Man United back to the top. He might want to do that. You know what I mean? It might be an attractive proposal for them. You never know. It is Man United. We're still a big club. Let's not forget. And we've been Garnacho and Ahmed as subs. Good point, GK. Good point, my friend. Can we agree Mount is a flop? I've agreed from beginning, day one, before he even kicked a ball, mate. He's a flop. I knew it. I didn't rate him from a long, long time ago, Chow. Man United averaging at one point, it's very worrying. Evovo is very worrying, my friend. And you know what? We have to improve this because you know what it is? When you don't win games, just like winning games, it's a habit. When you don't win games, it becomes a habit and it becomes a bad addiction. Do you know what I mean? When you don't win games. And don't think we're too good to be in a relegation zone because we're not. We were fantastic in 1974. We got relegated in 1974. Let's not forget, great teams have been relegated in the past. We have to get this right and we have to start winning games pretty quickly because the most important thing in football is scoring goals and we're not scoring goals. And that is the worrying thing. And when you don't score goals, you are in a big problem because you know what? You won't get enough points. We have to do better. Richard, why was Everton arguing tactically arguing, disagreeing with tactics? One thing I do like that. Richard, I like that because at the end of the day, it shows that they're thinking and they're trying to organize what is going on within the football pitch. I personally don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy and Erik ten Hag are on the same page. I don't believe they agree with each other. This is my personal opinion. We noticed it. Me and Elite noticed it during the game. I think at the game the other week, and Ruud van Nistelrooy was speaking to Casemiro on the bench, and you can see that they were talking about the tactics and Erik ten Hag because Erik ten Hag was standing by the pitch, and they were talking behind Erik ten Hag. And back then, I thought, you know what, something sinister is going on. They're not agreeing that everyone is not on the same page. This is probably why Erik ten Hag picked the team he picked yesterday because he's picking the players that he feels are on the same page as him. Would Michael Carrick be a solution new manager? Michael Carrick's a very underrated manager, Almac. I think he is at the end of the day. But when we're talking about best in class, is he the best in class? Are we going to take that risk? Can we take that risk? Man United are a very, very big club. The club weighs heavy on people's shoulders, and we have to be very careful who we appoint. We have to get a character in there, a proper character, a proper guy who can just take everything and proper be strict and be ruthless. Do you know what I mean? And not just say he's ruthless, be ruthless. I'm also concerned that Mainu, as he seems to be playing within himself, he does not seem to be playing like a young player who has something to prove. I hope I'm wrong, but this is what I see so far. Chanino is definitely not the player he was last season. There is a number of reasons that could be. It could be the fact that he played in the Euros, of course, in the summer. He could be tired. But then again, he had a lot of rest. He had an injury as well. He does need to pick it up. But one thing I would stress, and I would stress this 100%, and in regards to young players are notoriously inconsistent. And this is when you have to drop young players out the team. and bring them in, just like Garnacho and stuff. You have to take them out and bring them in. But by taking them out, you have to have ready-made replacements for them, which is why sometimes I'll play Ugarte and Casemiro, play those two in midfield for a while. Do you know what I mean? I'll do something like that, or play Eriksen and Ugarte. Leave that mainly for a while. When you overplay young players, they don't develop. It actually does more harm than good. It does more harm than good. We need Mainu's a young player, and we need to look after him, and we need to be careful about overplaying him and burning him out. It's what we did with Wayne Rooney, of course, as we remember. We played him again and again and again, and eventually he got burnt out. We need to do that with our young players as well. We need to drop him out the team, play other players, drop him out the team, and play other players, of course, guys, in my opinion. In my experience, I should say, of course. Good morning, Mr. Sal. Good morning, Chichi. Long time no see. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is fine with you. Good to see you, mate. Hope everything is good with you. Get Emery. Yeah, and there's a number of managers out there that are available. But at the moment, Erik ten Hag is our manager, and we just wait and see what happens, guys. I don't think the players who played deserve to play. I don't think that many of those players deserve to play. Mark, good morning, bro. I don't think those players deserve to play. A lot of those players don't deserve to play. A lot of those players, do you know what? As I said, a lot of those players are making mistakes. There's players who can't even cross the ball when someone is open in the box. You can't cross the ball when you've got one man in front of you and you hit the first man. What kind of play is that? Amateur rubbish. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that is not to do with the manager. That is to do with him, the player. If you cannot beat the first man, you are not a professional footballer. That's what you learn in school. You learn to beat the first man in school, for crying out loud. Spurs watch United being Spursy against Paul and got upset and said, "Hold my beer, you have no right." Exactly. Spurs lost to Brighton. Where's the big avalanche on Postecoglou? Where's that big avalanche on Postecoglou? Where's all the media scrutiny? Where's it going? He lost to Brighton. So did we. We only lost just, but they lost. They lost a 2-0 lead. What's going on with the scrutiny in regards to Postecoglou then? Absolutely. Emery's a shit coach. Yeah. I mean, we need best in class. Ten Hag still selected a team that tactically outdid Emery. Yeah, he did tactically outdid Emery. He done well yesterday. And this is one thing we have to say. He did well yesterday. He did well. Any other day, it'd be a great result. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the patience in people is weird thin. Now, my patience is not weird thin, right? I'm happy to keep Erik ten Hag in charge because I'm seeing a structural change. Right, I'm seeing us defend well. We haven't conceded a goal, in the league in 4 games or something like that. To a few games, and we've been keeping clean sheets. We've been doing quite well. You know what I mean? So one thing I would say is that patience is needed. This meeting between Ineos and Erik ten Hag was planned weeks and weeks ago. It's not exclusive to sacking ten Hag, as people who are not in the know think they're in the know and stuff, and they're saying that it's going to be, he's going to be sacked. The meeting, we'll see, and blah, blah. No, it's not. At the end of the day, it's just a meeting that they planned a long time ago as a review of the season so far. Doesn't mean that we're going to be sacked. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is this: you can bring even Tony into that team, you can bring Bloody, any striker, Erling Haaland in that team. They will not score goals because we are not crossing from the width. We're not crossing the ball enough. We're not creating enough, and that is down to the strikers. If we were literally a competent pass away from winning that game yesterday, and everyone would be singing from a different hymn tune, as we know. It is normal for coaches to disagree, yeah, and I like that, Mark. I like that, bro, because at the end of the day, when coaches disagree, it shows that they're working on something. They're thinking, and they're thinking about changing something up and trying to win the game, and I like that. It's happened over the years. In 1984, we were an old team getting nowhere near deserved going down, Brian. I know, but I'm saying that, you know what? Man United and losing, you know me, Man United enjoying and dropping points, it can become a habit of dropping points, right? And if we carry on the negativity, if we carry on with everything going against us and stuff like that, you know what? It's going to get precarious because some of those players on the pitch I'm worried about, in my opinion. You know what? It's not so much the manager. It's a lot to do with the players as well that I'm worried about. But no, Man United won't get relegated. No. I think that's a bit far-reaching. Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick, I mean, he's got to prove himself at a big team. He's got to do it. He's got to do it at a big team. Mark, you told me he picked the players yesterday have a full future in United. Mainu just had a slow start to the season. He needs a break, Mark. He needs a break. Young players are inconsistent. Notoriously, young players are inconsistent. We remember back in the class of 92, they were inconsistent, Mark. And people forget that we lost big games. You know what I mean? With the class of 92, they need to be rotated. Of course, they did come into a team full of winners, though. That was a big difference. What the hell are you talking about, Chow? Our man then brain dead. We have a squad. Everyone has to contribute. Yeah. Yesterday was a decent performance. I'm not going to lie. Yesterday was a decent performance. We were a competent striker away from winning that game. You know, one pass. All it takes is one bloody pass to get that ball past the first man. Get that ball past the bloody first man and get that ball to Bruno to score. Yeah, he's played in the Euros though, Mark, innit? That's the problem. And he looks knackered. He's a young player. Rooney was an alcoholic. Let's not excuse for Rooney, who never took care of himself passionately. No, he didn't. Actually, he didn't. But one thing about young players, you do have to be careful as well, because we put a lot of work, we put a lot of pressure on Mainu, because Mainu, last season was most likely one of our best players of the season. And we're putting a lot of pressure. England put a lot of pressure on him as well. And when you put a lot of pressure on a young player, it's not a good thing. We're putting too much pressure on him. I do believe we need to rotate a little bit in that midfield, a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then just rotate a bit and give him some rest, give him some time on the bench, bring him in, not only because he's tired, but also to like say that you're not invincible in the team. You're not completely untouchable. You go on the bench, you need to recuperate, you come in the next game, of course. Alex Ferguson used to do it. Oh no, get coach Eric tactically outclass every game. We need a clean sheet, keeping the type of manager and knows good offensive tactic, like decent tactic. We are where we're scoring. Ahmed has been having a shit game last few games, no output. I agree. He hasn't been good. We got to think about the last games as well. We lost 3 games, too many. This time of the season is too many. Out of 10, that's too many for Man United. Teams lose 2 games this season. You know what I mean? Teams lose 2 games all season these days. And to be fair, we have been good improvements. And the problem is crosses and the strikers are not clinical. And bro, we haven't had any striker. We haven't had hardly any crosses going into the box. We don't create for the strikers. We don't create enough for the strikers. We got inadverted wingers, right, who cut in and more inclined to shoot, which is not crossing. Every time Rashford gets the ball, he's running. He's not crossing. He's not creating enough. The actual problem is Højlund made quite a few mistakes, wrong decisions. Also, the final 5. I mean, strikers need ball to them. They need the ball to feet. They need to be in the box. We need to be crossing that ball into the box. That's what we need. We don't create enough for the strikers. We don't. It's an actual fact. We don't. When you look at Højlund's output last season, from the chances he had the second best in the league. From the chances he had the second best output in the league, the second best finishing record in the league. But he didn't have a lot of chances. That's the thing. Eriksen is not quick, but good on the attacking midfielder. I would have played Eriksen as attacking midfielder. I would have dropped Bruno, yes. I think Bruno does need a rest. Well, he does need to be dropped. Casemiro, Ugarte, or we can try Mainu and Casemiro and Gore, of course. We got great youngsters there, guys. We got a lot of good youngsters in our team. We got good youngsters in our squad. I'm a fan of Harry Amas. People know that. I've been singing from the Harry Amas sim sheet. Wasn't Tottenham played a 17-year-old? Why are we not playing the bloody young players? Manchester United not sacking him. Bahari, welcome to the stream, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, legend. We'll have to wait and see. They're not going to sack him. I don't think they're going to sack him. We also too much using young lads. We got young lads up front. Yeah, we do. But you know what? It's not all their fault. I wouldn't say that. Rashford, I wouldn't class as young though. Everton was awful. Players were amazing. We have to give credit to Erik ten Hag as well, GK, for picking that lineup and dominating the game against Aston Villa. We cannot be over pessimistic and we cannot be overly critical to Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag picked a team and they dominated Aston Villa yesterday. Let's be quite frank about this, right? With a 40-year-old in defence, he absolutely dominated Aston Villa. The only thing is we were not prolific and we were not making the right choices in the final third. We were not holding the ball up well. We were not crossing the ball into the box. We were, up front, if we had a competent players, all three of them, not just one of them, all three of them, and all four, I should say, with Bruno, we would have done a bit more. We would have won the game if we were a bit more prolific in front of goal. But yesterday, you cannot blame Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag had a good game yesterday. We cannot blame him for that. He picked the team, and they did well, and they got a draw, and they should have won the game. Bruno is not at his best yet. He's not at his best yet. Uchichi, he's the. I mean, how long does it take? How long's a piece of string? Rivard isn't an old coach. He's a coach who previously played for us, and Erik ten Hag needs to listen to him. Kazi, yeah, it is a balance. I mean, everyone knows something that we don't know. You can learn something of everyone at the end of the day. And in regards to Ruud van Nistelrooy, you know what? It's tactical. It's tactical. It's tactical debating, isn't it? And that's what managers and coaches do. They have tactical. But Phelan and Alex Ferguson used to do it all the time. Carlos Queiroz and Alex Ferguson used to do it all the time as well. You know what I mean? Our strikers and wingers are actually getting better. Rashford started and consistent with lead. He is, but we're still not scoring enough goals. It's still 0 goals in 4 games, isn't it? Or something like that in the league or something like that. You know what? We need to score more goals, my friend. And is it getting better? I don't know. I would change the formation, Mark. I said it from the beginning. I wouldn't play the 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 or whatever it was. I wouldn't play that myself. I would play the 4-4-2, a 4-5-1. I would. And at the end of the day, I bet you would get more goals if we play 2 up front as well. At the end of the day, what we can say is that simply right now it does need to improve. It does, and it is improving, but at a very slow rate, which is why they won't sack him. What's wrong with Diallo and Anthony at this point? I don't know, mate. Diallo has Ahmad. Let's be honest, he hasn't played well for the last few games, and this is what we do. You drop players when they don't play well for the last few games. Is he one of the best performing right midfielders of our team? Yes, he is probably the best performing over the season so far. But recently, he hasn't been playing well. And when players don't play well, you drop them. You know what I mean? And then you bring them in. And especially when they're young players are inconsistent. That is the way it is. Bex was inconsistent. Scholes was inconsistent. Butt was inconsistent. Gary Neville was inconsistent. These players were inconsistent. And let's not forget they were around winners, title winners and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We are bad. Every player is bad. We are regressing, not improving any of our players. We need coaches to coach individual players on what they can do to improve. There is no style. Mate, I would say this, David, and I'm going to say this very, very, very clearly, right? Style of football is that's just the buzzword of the week. That's the buzzword for Man United. Style of football, style of football. It's a very simplistic argument, right? We have a style of football. We've seen it, right? We play patches of it, but we're not doing it effectively. And that's the difference. We're learning, but we're not doing it effectively, right? We are not scoring enough goals. We are not creative. We are not prolific enough. As we know, we're the what is it? The second, third highest goal chances created in the league, right? We're not scoring enough goals. You can't blame that on Rasmus because he hasn't played. It was his first real game yesterday at Porto, and we scored 3, and he scored that night, right? And the thing is that this style of play thing is the thing that other fan channels they use as a buzzword, the style of play. I would urge every single one of those fan channels will start to come on this channel and tell me what Sir Alex Ferguson's style of play was. Ten Hag should start using this lad, integrate them into the team and maybe playing the 20-minute. I'm a firm believer in the youth. Uchichi. I'm a believer in the youth team. I've always been a believer in the youth team. I think we have a great conveyor belt of young players coming through. And I think we should give them a chance, some of them. Yesterday, our bench cost 436 million. That's not Erik ten Hag, though. That's the board, isn't it? They spend it at the end of the day. Our wingers are getting better. Rashford is starting to respond to it. Yeah, I think I read that one. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, they are. Well, I don't think they're going to take us to the promised land, though. I think we need to do better. I think Garnacho is going to improve. I don't think Rashford will improve much. I don't think they're going to take us to where we want to be eventually. Overall, where we want to be, I don't think they're good enough, in my opinion. As we know what wingers are, we should know that what wingers are, what real wingers are. Do you know what I mean? And what they do, and how they create, and how they cross, how they tackle, and everything. At the end of the day, we have to understand that some of those players. I mean, Garnacho's still young and he's still going to improve. Ahmad is still young. He's still going to improve. The rest of them, I don't think they're going to take us to the promised land, if I'm being honest. And that's just my opinion. Man United have ineffective midfielders too, not only wingers. That's true. That is true. But then again, my brother is a Tottenham supporter, and he was telling me, the guys signed. They were crying out for Eriksen to be sold at Tottenham years ago, and he's playing in our first team as a central midfielder, guys. As a central midfielder. However, I remember Højlund just returned from injury, and we have the second highest average chances created. He's just returned, though. He hasn't had any of those chances. He didn't have any yesterday. He's just returned. Maybe if we had him more, we would have scored more goals this season. But one thing I would say is that it's not working in regards to goal scoring. We're a minus goal good difference last season. We need to score more goals. We have to score more goals. I mean, we're on the realms of Ipswich Town, for crying out loud. Do you know what I mean? Ipswich Town. We need to do better, mate. Honestly, we cannot be overzealous. We have to call it pessimistically. And that doesn't mean we want the manager out. That doesn't mean we hate these players. We believe that they have the talent, but we need to change something. Something's not clicking, and we need to make it work, of course. It's only a few tweaks. It can be only a few tweaks. I think Ruud doesn't want to play Amas, to be fair. I've been hearing this, but I think Eric is also a bit worried about him playing for fans and for injuries. Yeah, I would have played him. He's a left foot. I would have played him left foot, left back. It makes sense for me. I think we'll play better, more balance. Of course. I think Bruno was better yesterday. Better, but not good enough. Not good enough at the end of the day. For whatever reason that is, I don't know. Deep Fate, good morning, my friend. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the stream. Why is he not playing own signings? Delete Martinez. Probably wants to bed them in a little bit at the end of the day. Probably wants to give them rest. Martinez, let's be honest, hasn't played great the last few games. So it is squad rotation, and he's entitled to rotate his squad. And you have to say yesterday, Deep Fake, that he got it right. He got it right. And you have to say that he got it right, because we've outplayed Aston Villa. Yesterday, we outplayed Aston Villa just like we played Crystal Palace. One positive thing, and I'm going to say this like this. I'm seeing about Man United right now. I think we're playing better away from home. We're playing a lot better away from home. We're creating more chances. We're controlling games more. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we're playing a little bit better away from home? What do you think the reason is for that is? Is it pressure at home? Is there more pressure at Old Trafford? Ruud has no coaching pedigree. He is here to learn from Eric, and it's not former club. Mate, absolutely, Mark. You know what? We have to not get over giddy in regards to Ruud van Nistelrooy, because at the end of the day, we learned our lesson from when they got a salt squad, didn't we? What will happen, Mark, I don't know if you agree with this, is that we'll probably get a new manager bounce. We'll get a new manager bounce, and then they will get a new contract, and then the results will go pear-shaped again. And then, you know what? We've already given him a contract, and then he's going to be there for 2 years, and we're going to be calling for his head. We need the best in class. Erik ten Hag, when he first was about rumored to Man United, he was the best in class in Europe. In regards to up-and-coming managers. I'm not talking about the likes of Ancelotti and things like that. In regards to up-and-coming managers, he was deemed the best in class, and he was wanted by numerous amounts of managers around Europe. We ruined him. Good evening, by the way. Good evening. Where are you? Evening? I thought you're in. Are you in Italy? Deep Fake. If you're in Italy, it's not evening, is it? It's morning. Are you in Italy? No, it's not. West Ham goes to the league, and a game 4 was Southampton, and game 4 was Southampton. What is your best 11? We won 7. How many games we got? 7 points have we got? 7. What is your best 11 for Man United? My best 11. Wow. Luke Shaw, left back when he's fit, 100%. Delict, Leacher, left side centre back. Delict, right-sided centre-back. Dalot, right-sided right-back, obviously. Mainu, central midfield. Ugarte, central midfield. I will play at the moment. I don't know. I mean, myself. Xerxes, number 10. Ahmad, right midfield, Garnacho left midfield, or Højlund, Rasmus Højlund, striker. That's what I do. Yeah, we won 3-0 against Southampton. We've only beaten Southampton and Fulham this season in the league, haven't we? Isn't it? Southampton, Fulham, drew to Crystal Palace, lost to Liverpool, lost to Tottenham, drew to Aston Villa, isn't it? So that is, first game was Fulham, lost to Brighton, yeah, beat Southampton, lost to Liverpool, lost to Tottenham, Crystal Palace. Did I say Crystal Palace? And drew with Aston Villa. Seven. I think 7 games, yeah. Mark, I'll be honest with you, bro. These players need to pick it up because at the end of the day, we cannot be overzealous because being overzealous creates more problems for the football club. We have to be a little bit ruthless, and discipline needs to be inputted into that football club because it's simply not good enough for our football club, our great football club. We've been through the mill, and you should know that, right? At the end of the day, Man United need to be patient, and they are being patient, but a lot of these players should take a lot of the bulk of the blame. Their output is nowhere near good enough. They're nowhere near playing at a level that they should be, and that is not down to the manager. As I said, not down to the manager, it's down to those players on the pitch. We're nowhere near where we should be. We should not be close to Ipswich Town. You know what I mean? We should be nowhere near teams like Ipswich and teams like you know what I mean? Tottenham shouldn't be above us, you know? We shouldn't be losing 3-0 at home to Tottenham, regardless what team we put out there. We shouldn't be losing 3-0 at home to Liverpool, regardless what team we put out there. At the end of the day, that's our rivals. We've had worse teams in the past. We've had teams with Bellion. We've had teams with Fletcher and O'Shea and players like that, and we beaten Liverpool. We need to do better. It's as simple as that. And we can't be overzealous and be over confident and over supporting of something that is not working. At the end of the day, we'll have to wait and see. As I said, I'm giving it till Christmas, right? And I'm going to see where we are at Christmas. And if we are where we want to be at Christmas, great. You know what I mean? We move on. I'm giving him till Christmas. That's enough to make a judgment, in my opinion. If we are 15th or 14th or 10th, you know what I mean, or something like that, or 8th, depending where we are in the league, if we're 8th and we're only 4 points off 4th place or something like that, then we keep it. But if we're 8th or 9th or 10th and we're like 15 points off 4th place, we have to really consider it, my friend. Really do. The fans have lost faith in Eric Ten Hag. I saw a poll on United channel that only 10% of the fans are predicting that we will beat Villa. Fans don't believe in him anymore. Ineos must sense the negativity. They do, but one thing I would say, and this, I'm going to stress this 100%, and I'm going to say this right now as a fan of over 40 bloody years, I think I'm entitled to an opinion that actually makes sense, right? We cannot be overzealous with Manchester United. We cannot be overconfident with Man United at the end of the day, right? But one thing I would say, and I'm going to say this very clearly, any manager that walks into our football club is going to have an issue when you've got players who've been there for 7 years and their only experience is losing. They don't have experience of winning titles. They don't have experience of winning Champions Leagues. They don't have experience of going challenging for a title. They don't have experience of challenging for a Champions League. So when that new manager, if that new manager does come in, he needs to have the power and authority to get rid of some of those players that have been mainstays for years and years and years, sitting on their backside, earning a packet, playing for England, but not playing for our football club. You know what I mean? That is what we need to do. We need to get rid of those type of players. We need the end of that mentality. Play 1-1-1, Kazi. You're mad, Kazi. As injured, why is he not playing at left back? He doesn't think he's ready, David. He doesn't think he's ready, obviously, I think. The coaching staff has just arrived, actually. And I think coach's impact will happen in 7 weeks when you change a whole coaching staff I had for 7 seasons. I mean, Ipswich Town haven't played in the Premier League for years and years and years. They're doing okay. You know, we have a style of play. Yeah, we do. I agree. Fact people can't see what we have 2 styles of the current play at the current. We're playing better away from home, I would say that. Is there any update on Euro? November, I think, David. Why are people in such a rush when we've been shit for a decade? Won't change anything and young attack. And yeah, I agree with that, Mark. Absolutely 100% agree with that. We won't change. It won't change because there's something fundamentally wrong at Manchester United, and it doesn't just stop at the manager. There's many things wrong. Now, There are players in our football club who have been there since the Van Gaal days, right? And at the end of the day, players don't need to be obviously a disruption to the squad in front of people's faces. They could be manipulative. They could be leaking things. They could be doing things like that to disrupt the momentum of the football club. This is why I will get rid of a lot of those players who've been there for a long time. I just would. I think it's time we move on. We're too attached to some players. Yoa is on grass this week training. Yep. It's after international break, so we'll know a lot clearer where his fitness is. What does Sir start involving bombing down the wings, wing play, and integrate to the Sir Ferguson style? There's no such thing as the Sir Ferguson style. Sir Ferguson style was winning football matches. Players giving their all. We bomb down the wing now. Everyone bombs down the wing. You know what I mean? We bomb down the wing now. I mean, it's not just that. It's about implementation of a formation. Absolutely. We are in a rebuild. It's bad only a normal, especially since we have so many moving parts. I agree. I don't know what you're saying no at, Mark. What you saying no at, bro? So it's changed and rotated players every week. You could score, brace, and be on the bench. Absolutely, yeah. People don't remember that. At the end of the day, he dropped winners, didn't he? He dropped legends. Cantona, Beckham. Got it right, though. Big up, Brian. No, we weren't playing good. Well, no, we aren't playing good. We played all right yesterday, mate. We played okay. How you doing, Akash? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the stream. Hope everything is fine with you, Akash. Welcome back. The Palace game was dominant display. Villa was not. I think Villa was a good performance from a better team than Crystal Palace. Let's not forget Aston Villa just beaten Bayern Munich. We have to give a little bit of credit. You know what? When we start getting into the realms of over being pessimistic, being too pessimistic and being too negative, it starts to resonate, doesn't it? And it starts to eat at you, and you know, and you start becoming bitter. You have to start saying, "Well, that was good. That was good. That was bad. That was bad. Can we improve that? Can we improve that?" It's a balance at the end of the day. It's like this, right? You balance it out, and you have to spit it how you feel you spit it. But at the end of the day, you speak from the heart. You don't speak with a big weight on that opinion. At the end of the day, things have improved, right? But there's things that are not improving. And those things will improve over time. But will they be given the time? Will Ineos not succumb to the pressure? Brian, it was poor, Sal. I don't know if it's poor. I mean, tactically, mate, I felt it was all right, mate. I felt it was all right. I mean, football isn't just about running and pace and stuff like that. Sometimes you have to be respectful to the opposition as well, of course. We dominated Villa Fairfield until we started to develop the momentum with fake yellow cards. Mark, that referee was absolutely disgraceful yesterday. I'm going to say it like this, bro. That referee was disgraceful yesterday. Fouls were given against Aston Villa. We were getting yellow cards left, right, and centre, right? Derailing us, as you said. And they were giving nothing to Aston Villa. There was one episode where they pulled the shirt and didn't give nothing. There was another episode when we were clean through and he pushed him and he didn't get nothing. Disgusting. Some people just don't understand what happens when referees decide to fuck off. Yeah, I agree, Mark. Bro, Mark. Links in the description, by the way, guys. Links in the description. All right, let's get Mark on stage, bro. My friends, let's get Mark, my brother, on the stage. What's going on, bro?
Oh, morning, bro. Good morning to everyone.
Morning, brother.
I hope you all are having a great start to your day. I know Man United didn't look so amazing yesterday, but what can I say, guys? It's you got to enjoy the morning, right? You got to wake up, have your coffee, drink your juice, and have a good start to the day. Say your prayers. These things you got to do
your
it
vitamins.
because.
Oh, mate, bro. Look. Listen. Look. At the end of the day, one thing I would say, right, is that I'm not Ten Hag out. I'm one of the few, and not right as you are as well. Right. I've not said Ten Hag out once. Right. I don't believe it's going to change anything, bro. I'll be honest with you. And smart people who are a bit football savvy in their brain know that, right? Too many people are changing their minds too soon. They're giving up too soon. The frustrating thing for me, right, is that we're doing the simple things wrong at the moment. That's the one thing I don't like. And the thing with crossing the ball, hitting the first man, I mean, if that ball yesterday goes across the ball, I think it was Bruno who would have been there. If that
Yeah,
went to Bruno, that's 1-0.
bro. I think you know what? In case of the young players who started up front, I think as much as I normally wouldn't say this, I think they need time and patience. I think we need to support them. Garnacho, Ahmad, even Xerxes. They're starting to look like the pressure from the fan base getting to them, if you understand
Mm,
what I mean. And
mm.
for young players, I understand. Fans, we should be winning every game. We are Man United, but we have to look at the concept of we have a young attack with full of potential.
Mm.
And the only way they could achieve that potential is with our support as fans. Of course, criticize bad performances, but the youngsters under 21 and 21 and under and thing, we need to support these brothers, give them love. Of course, they will make mistakes. Garnacho. Sometimes Garnacho is look relaxed to me. Yesterday, he
Yeah.
looked a little bit on edge. Like, he realized he hasn't really scored in the last few games. He's missed a lot of chances, and it looked like it was on his mind. Normally, Garnacho get that ball there. He passed that ball first time. Bruno would be having that ball earlier. And it just
That's,
feel like he just, you know, overthink it a little bit. Uh,
and
However,
that's young players. That's young players,
as
isn't it?
young players,
And
even
we know
Xerxes
that.
for me, look a little bit under it yesterday. And you know me, bro. Like I think Xerxes will deliver. I think he's better as a 10, as you say. I never thought he was a prolific striker, but I thought he was always going to partner Hoyland at some point.
Mm.
Yesterday, for me, Xerxes looked like he was it on his mind a little bit that he has been missing. So,
Well, we
guys,
well we remember back in the day, right? When strikers don't score goals, even experienced strikers like Andy Cole, right? When strikers don't score goals, it becomes like a fridge on their back, and
exactly.
and it's a habit. Diego Forlan had the same problem. It took him ages to score his first goal for Man United. It was like we were begging him to score for Man United. You know what I mean? And when
Mhm.
you get on their back, you know what? It's just going to keep resonating. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. It's like a bacterial infection within the fan base, and it resonates to the players. And as I said, like in Instagram and Twitter and that, these players they watch, they see, right? Because
Mhm.
I've written posts on Instagram and they're all seeing it. They watch it. You see who's seen your last post, and they've all seen it. They know what's going on. They know what the fans are saying. That's why I always try to be positive on my social media and stuff like that, and not say anything too bad. I try to up the players and say, "Let's go, guys," and blah blah blah, and things like that. Do you know what I mean? But you're right in regards to young players. We have got a young team. We do. I don't know the goal scoring side of things. I don't know what we're going to do about
Yeah,
that
well, that's
because
the
you know
thing.
what.
That's why I start off talking about the young players up front, because if guys really want to be, you know, critical, look at up front. Up front is where all the youth are. Garnacho, Kobe, you know, Xerxes knew, so he's 23, but he knew, so he's going to take some time. He only moved into his house on Monday last week or Tuesday last week, you know what I mean? So I think for him, it would have been a little bit uncomfortable going to a hotel after every game, not feeling that comfort of being able to just walk into your own space. You know what I mean? And this is the reason why I'm saying that is because the structure around Ten Hag, not just Ten Hag, they decided, you know what, we're not going to buy a bags, man. We're going to buy a young striker and we're going to work with these guys to develop them and see where it gets us in January, and then we'll make changes. I think Chido could be a master stroke because you know what I mean. We did have that accident situation that kept us from getting Chido earlier when we initially signed him, all the way like 6 weeks now till now. And I think him, the guy, the likes of Sekou, Kone, you might see these guys looking to start to come into the first team playing Carabao Cup games, because there has been reports that Sekou's performance in the youth team will
Mm.
see him get a berth in the Carabao Cup. The same thing, Dan God Jr. was on the bench the last 2 nights. He's been having a wonder return to his career, after that injury at Burton last season. And I think you will see some dynamic changes, because we know it have certain players that Ten Hag likes. Ten Hag sold Hanson Oran to develop Dan Gore. You know what I mean? So for me, I think is a little bit of patience. Like, as much as I do like the fact that we're not scoring goals, the signs are there that we are creating lots of chances. Hoyland has just returned from injury, so I think he will acclimatize To me in this game, I was shocked that he didn't get a red card, a penalty or something. I think the defender was pushing and pulling at him the entire game. Should have had a yellow card or at least a red. You know, but the referee was not with us yesterday. He was not about balance.
No, he was disgraceful yesterday. The referee was disgraceful yesterday. He was blatantly against us yesterday, and this is not the first time as well. It's been a while. I think wasn't that the referee who gave Bruno the red card and it was overturned?
No, this was. I think he was the referee that gave Darlow the 2 yellow cards.
No, yeah. He's not on our side. Then he's not one of them managers, the referees who. I mean, no one. We ain't got a good referee in the Premier League. They're all against us, to be honest. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Man United fan. I've seen it with my own eyes. There's blatant fouls there that we didn't get right from the beginning of the game. And the only thing I'm surprised about, he didn't send off a Man United player. That's the only thing I'm surprised about.
I thought Rashford was going to get sent off. I thought Rashford was off. Yeah, and man, to be fair, I think that's what frustrated Rashford on the bench the most, because I think Rashford was fuming on the bench because he was like, "How did I?"
Yeah, people are twisting that. They showed a little gif, like a little clip, isn't it? And they're saying, "Oh, he's saying that he's gone mad and things like that," and they're bringing it on Eric Ten Hag and things like that. This is how the toxicity starts. This annoys me because he didn't say that. He was talking about the bloody referee.
Obviously, if anybody thought he was talking about the manager, guys, come on, let's be honest. This manager support that particular player the most. He backs him heavily. So let's be real. As much as, even if Rashford don't like him, he will not display it openly, because when Rashford was at his worst last season, he defended Rashford. We have to look at things a little bit more practical. This manager, as much as he might sound weird, he's defend the players and protect them from the media and fans. And that is a boost for players. If I was a player, I would appreciate that. You know what I mean?
One thing I would say, bro, and I'm gonna say, we got to think about best in class. I mean, Ineos are talking a lot about best in class and stuff like that and things like that. But there's no best in class manager right now. Eric Ten Hag was the best in class at his level in regards to up and coming managers coming through the ranks and stuff like that. He was the best in class, right? At the end of the day, we're gonna get Ruud van Nistelrooy, right? If we got Ruud van Nistelrooy, people think things are gonna change. What it will change for about a month, right? Probably be a little bounce right there, and then it's going to go back to where it was. And you would have thought that we would have learned our lesson with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Ruud is a good manager, a good coach. He's a good coach, but he's inexperienced at the highest level, Premier League level. You know what I mean? Eric Ten Hag's managed Ajax. He's taken them in the Champions League semi-final and things like that. It's not like Ruud van Nistelrooy just managed.
True, but guys, I feel like I know last season was bad, but I feel like we are a little bit too heightened. Our senses on this decision too heightened. Because imagine this, just prospectively, we just brought in a brand new coaching staff that coaches a different way to the staff we had for 7 years. I don't know if anybody realized the coaching staff we had that we just fired, they was there for 7 years, minus Benny McCarthy and Steve McLaren. They came in for 2 years, but the other 6 people was there for 7 years. So we just fired them. These new coaches, our entire new coaching staff, new set piece coach, new goalkeeping coach, new midfield coach, new defensive coach, new attacking coach, who's Van Nistelrooy. It will take them more than 7 weeks to actually get the team performing better, because most of the players haven't returned until after the Euros, which was in August, literally 7 weeks ago. So I feel like we're a little bit rushed. I feel like we need to give that new coaching staff some time to get to work with the players. It might take more than 6 weeks. It might take 2 months. I know it's Man United. I know that fans don't want to hear this right now. And I could agree with you all. It's not the best. But don't forget, the first season, we were all celebrating 2 cup finals and a 3rd place finish, getting back into the Champions League after missing out the season before. We need to. I think we need to have a little patience. I'm not saying
you know why this is, isn't it, bro? Huh? You know why this is. You know why this happened with parts of the fan base is because a lot of them were proven wrong last season, and they were openly made to look a bit silly last season, because he won the FA Cup and he outplayed Pep Guardiola in the FA Cup final, which he did. Right, we won it comfortably at the end of the day, and a lot of people were showing up. So a lot of people are already on the edge of saying, I can't wait till he loses his first game, and then I'm going to jump on Eric Ten Hag. And that's what people have been doing straight away, because a lot of people have egos, and they have platforms and egos. And platforms and egos is a dangerous combination, because at the end of the day, you start doing things in anger. And when you do things in anger, you don't think logically. Logically, if you sit back and you think, you're going to think, give him time. Let's see what happens. Like I said, Christmas, I'm going to do a half midway season review and see what's going on. Do you know what I mean? And see where we are in the league. But
Sal, I don't know, bro. Like sometimes I feel like I don't know what football is anymore. You know what I mean? No,
mm,
I could be wrong. I'm not saying that my football brain is one of the best. I don't think so actually. I just think I average. And when I look at football nowadays and I hear some of the things people, look at and they cry out for, some of the fouls that they ask for, like I watched some fouls yesterday that, in my honest opinion, Colina eyes would fall out his head. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody rate Colina as much as I rate Colina, but I think he was the best referee on the planet. And when a
Colina,
referee
yeah, yeah,
standing in front of a challenge and you can't see that the guy kicked the lip behind his
yeah,
ankle,
yeah.
and you give a foul and a yellow card and a free kick, is like, what really
You
going on
you
here?
you remember you remember Colinho, right? Inter
Mm.
Milan versus Manchester United, quarterfinal of the Champions League. Inter Milan were diving everywhere, falling in the box, stuff. He didn't give nothing, despite the crowd, the intimidation from the San Siro and everything. He didn't give nothing to Inter. He called it how it was. I'm not saying it's the Premier League referees, bruv. It's the Premier League referees. They don't like us.
Bro,
I just think they don't like us, mate.
so I don't know. Like at one point in time in the game, I will be honest. I was being sarcastic, but I said it. And the reason why I said it was because I started getting this impression that, you know what, maybe the agenda against us is too much. Maybe the hate for Ten Hag is more than the hate for Man United. I don't know how that's possible, but maybe everyone in accordance want him out. Not just the reporters, but the PGMOL, because it seems like the one game when we had a team that most people would say would get battered against Aston Villa, the team was dominating the game for 35 minutes, 65% possession, four chances, two on goal so far, no chances to Aston Villa. And all of a sudden, the referee was like, hold my beer, let me become man of the match. And somebody calls, when you look at the fouls from Aston Villa players, even when this guy Diego Carlos, who came into the first half because Konza was injured, this dude was literally pushing guys down in their back. And while I don't complain much, I couldn't stand it yesterday. I understand that there are times your players will get a little hard challenge and push and some things, but he's had to hold it because your player might make a similar mistake. But this referee took it to a different level yesterday.
And then what made Rubb's sorting the injury is that into the wound is that when he had the problem with his radio and then only added on 6 minutes.
Bro, like, I literally was talking for like 10 minutes before he started playing, before the game resumed. And I was assuming we was going to play 100 minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
It's
Like the Chelsea
weird.
game yesterday was over 103 minutes.
It's so weird, Salah, and I'm not understanding it. But you know what? What even more funny is that, okay, we would, some of the new school fans, I'm not sure, not saying Man United new school fans, but football fans, they would say, well, forget the referee, forget all the referee has done, and they would say, well, we still didn't score. Sometimes I know the goal of a game is to score goals, but sometimes your team don't score goals, but they are the better team in the game regardless. And United was the better team in the game away from home. And what I have noticed is that this season, away from home, we've been better than last season already by far.
Yeah, we're
Because
dominating away from home. We're dominating
so
games, and that's an
mm,
improvement. I mean, the Crystal Palace, we should have won that game. We know that. We
bro,
should
we
have
should
won
have
that game.
won that game. I think the referee took some calls away from us in that game. I think
Wasn't there a
we should have had
penalty
a
we should have
penalty
had?
in almost every game we played so far, if not two. Against Spurs, we should have had two penalties. One of our players was kicked in their face. The other player was handed the ball as usual against United. Like every time he play against United, Romero handles the ball every single time. And now for me, it's not even a mistake anymore. He does it every. If you go back and look, anyone could go back and check the last three games we played against Spurs, Romero handles the ball in
What
every one of those games.
what was the one on Garnacho a year ago when he had his hand
That's when
up
Udogie
in the air?
held him in the box
And that one,
and
you remember
kept,
when and his hand was up in the air and he hit his
yeah,
hand?
bro,
And
it's it's getting ridiculous now. And to be fair, Sal, like, it's frustrating to the point where fans will see this happen and still not say to themselves, bro, we need to go to take our complaints now to PGMOL. Whether you're a Liverpool fan, an Arsenal fan, it don't matter which Premier League team you support, it will come to your doorstep. And these kinds of things should not be happening. At least not as consistent as they are. It's too
yeah,
blatant.
I mean, it's been going on for a year now, a couple of years now, isn't it? So since Ten Hag took charge, I mean, I know they wanted Pochettino, the media, didn't they? They wanted one of them guys there. That's why, and they hold a grudge against him for a long time. There was that rumor from the was it Laurel Whitwell who wrote something about Eric Ten Hag the other day, making up stories about Eric Ten Hag. I mean, every time I'm turning around, there's a new story going on about our manager, about Man United, and you know what? There's a lot of fair weather fans out there. I call them fair weather fans that have switched allegiance. They've stopped supporting the manager now, and you know what? It can't have been that strong in the first place, mate. You know what I mean? It can't. God knows what they would have been like 20, 40 years ago. My goodness
Bro,
me.
I read the article about Alex Ferguson day before yesterday. I have one of those old clippings from a newspaper I get from one of my uncles who was in England at the time.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I say to myself, though we had different players then, we were in a similar situation. And all those players went on to become greats at this club. We were in our worst situation. We were 4 years into Alex career. We'd finished 13th, 11th, 9th, and 6th, I
No
believe.
trophies.
No trophies. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I understand that the manager has not done well last season, but there were so many circumstances that no other football club had to deal with all at once. Yet still, as fans of this great club, we will look at that and say, you know what? It's still the manager's fault. Like, when are we going to get this right, guys? Because, you know, for the last 10 years, we've hired managers every 3 seasons, and we've had manager bunks for 12, 13 months every single time. When is this going to change? I mean, we're still making these excuses like, when is our manager going to get the best out of the players? When are these players going to start playing football for Manchester United, brother? Because last I checked under Alex Ferguson, all the players we had, they were effort merchants.
All captains, man. Captains, every
Effort
one of them.
merchants, brother. I don't know about fans now, but when I watched Man United before, I used to see steam coming off these fellas at
Yeah,
halftime.
yeah.
Steam. I don't see
I
that.
was I was at a game. Evra was he vomited in front of me when I was at a game. He vomited. He was running so much
You understand?
before a
So,
corner.
Sal, I don't know, but effort is look one way. Now, I'm starting to see more consistent effort from the general team in the last 4 games, to be fair, you know, and I think it will improve. What I have to say is that I've seen this for 10 years. For sure,
Mm.
we have not won anything. This manager come in 2 consecutive seasons. We played 3 cup finals and we've won 2. We finished third and we finished 8th. I don't think it's that bad that we're going to finish below 8. I think we might finish in between third and 8th, somewhere about 5th or 6th this season. But I am happy to win a FA Cup, win a Europa League, and finish 6th or 5th. I'm happy with that. You know why? Because it's take time to build a team into a winning team. And it's not just what we want. The players have to be ready as well. Some of these players, they're not ready. You could see that. And it's hard to say that as a United fan because it makes it seem like you don't have the standards. But you can't have standards today and they mean something tomorrow. You know what I mean? You have to build up to having a standard. It's
Mm.
increments.
One thing with you though, Mark, I rate is that you rebel against the narrative. You fight against 6, 7 man on one channel. Yeah, it's mad as well.
Bro, you can't
You,
listen. bro, it's mad, you know. And I think I too patient. I think I have too much patience, bro.
You do, because
That's
some
what
of
I
them,
think.
bro. There's some of them are rude though, man. There's always that guy with the Darth Vader thing. Like, rude,
Mm.
man. He's rude,
Pop is
man. I want
actually
to.
a real nice guy, yeah, bro. He when it comes to football, he's that's his personality. So
My
why
God.
contrary to what a lot of people think, he's a super nice guy. You know, it
Yeah.
have some super nice guys, but when it comes to sports, the attitude is a little bit.
Watch, right? Watch. If Man United do become successful, right, and God, you got receipts, bro.
Bro, I telling you, I collecting them. I tell man this season is the villain act. Oh, by the way, Sal, you are an elite ball. I don't know if you guys have time anytime this week, but we could definitely do a show anytime you guys want. I am always available before 5 p.m. in the afternoon. Because
Okay.
after 5 p.m., I have class for 4 hours, and after that, then I could do a stream again. But if
Yeah,
you
let's
guys
do it,
have want
man.
to do a stream, we I there for that. It would be nice.
What, like once a day, or once a week, or once every couple of days,
Uh,
or
I mean, if it depends. If you guys want to do once a day and try it out, we could do We could do once a week and see if the guys like it. If the guys in the stream like it, we could add on a second stream in a week. No problem.
yeah, because we need to build up, man. Because do you know what? Like it's a tough game, you know what I mean? And we need to be more content. Obviously, us uniting together. You know what I mean? It'd be good, man. It'd be a good show. Yeah, something like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Something, is it like, is that
Yeah, that's a
okay?
good
Something.
time, bro. I will. Yeah, no problem. You know what I mean? Good for me.
So when do you want to do? When should we start it? Like
I mean, if he lead around and if you guys want, we could do one tomorrow.
yeah, let's do one tomorrow. We do like one at 3. And then yeah, and that'd be good, because I do mine at 5, isn't it? So I do one at 3, and we could do a proper show. We have a proper structure to it. Yeah, and we just broadcast it on both channels, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And as no, even if we broadcast on your channel, the first stream is no problem. I know you know how it is, Sal. I dare for
All
it.
right.
You know what I mean? Teamwork is the dream work. And
That's the way it is. That's how the big guns work, and that's how they're successful, and it's teamwork at the end of the day, and that's what Man United are needing. And it takes time. Yeah, I mean, and
100%.
yeah, I mean, and
Se- se- I don't know if you guys ever watched Sesame Street, but I mean, maybe it's a Western thing, but it had this children's cartoon invented by Bill Cosby called, it's not a cartoon, but a series called Sesame Street. And they
yeah,
used
I
to
used
have
to
this
watch
song
it.
called Cooperation Makes It Happen. You know what I mean? But the most important thing about cooperation, everybody have to realize they have to sacrifice for each other. And I
Yeah,
think that takes time. I think that's the part that takes time.
absolutely, bruv. Absolutely. Mark, thanks for joining me, brother. It's been a brilliant
Thank,
one.
thanks
And
for
I'll
having
talk
me,
to
guys.
you
Big up to
tomorrow.
everyone in the chat. Have a great morning. Big up to you,
You
Sal.
too, brother. Big up. Take it easy, bro. That was Mark N, the legend. That is Mark N. Thank you so much for joining me. Of course, Mark N. He's got obviously we have different opinions, and we have opinions about the manager. And you know what? On this show, it's not just about taking our gap, mold fraud, get that manager out. It's nothing like that on this channel. We call it as it is, down the line, straight down the middle. No glisten, no tinsel on it whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? We're all about spitting the truth and the gospel at the end of the day, because it is, our problems are multi-layered. There are more than one problem at Man United, and that's what we have to understand at the moment. And one of the biggest problems is ourselves, and ourselves is the ones who are causing the biggest issue at the moment, in my opinion, because you know what? We're not going to be patient without, you know what, when you're trying to build something and you keep leaving it there, you do the foundations, you put the cement down, you dig a hole, you put the cement down, you do that, it's looking nice, you know what I mean? Then you think like, I'm going to turn around and walk away from that. I'm not doing that. Leave that one there half finished. And then we start building another one, it start looking pretty and stuff like that, and then we move away from that one. That's the problem we're having, man. At the end of the day, and I think we need to just be a little bit calm. Be calm. I know it's not hard for some people to be calm. I know it's not hard. It's not hard. Results will come. The meeting between Ineos and Man United is just a meeting. It's nothing to do with sacking anybody. You know what I mean? It's been planned for weeks. So at the end of the day, we have to move, guys. And big up everyone, of course, who joined me today. It's been a fabulous show. Thank you, Mark and legend. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, we're going to be doing more material together. We're going to be doing more shows together, guys. So look forward to that. And guys, thank you so much for joining me, and have a fantastic morning. And remember, like, guys, just try and think it through from every direction, from a bird's eye point of view. Think it through. Do you know what I mean? And look at all the circumstances that are dealt. Do you know what I mean? Don't be a fair weather fan. Keep it going, guys. Glory, glory, Man United. I'll see you later on for Chatterbox. Take it easy, guys. Peace.